stone vet. I hit the ground running when I'm invading your country. Instill with honor and discipline. Throw my guns like onyx, dressed in camo with ammo for every situation I handle. They got us marching this.
What's up, guys? Sergeant G here from the STONED VET USMC. Super excited to be here with you guys, man. Able to do another wonderful show for you guys for this week and be able to come and hang out and enjoy this time with you guys, man. You guys already know that this is like my counseling session. I'm able to bring on other advocates, right? You guys are always wondering, why is Sergeant G always adamant about cannabis legalization? Why is he always adamant about psilocybin legalization, dude? Because let me tell you about plant medicine, man. Let me always bring somebody on the show that can tell you a little bit about the amazing benefits of plant medicine, right? Don't take it from me, right? I'll tell you, but what I tell you, take it with a grain of rice, dude. Like, do your own research. Check it out and see, is Sergeant G full of shit? Or is he telling me something that is very beneficial, man? You know? Like I tell you guys are listening to #1 Marine Corps podcast. You guys are watching on the YouTube station. You can see that beautiful gold warhammer from the Veteran Podcast Awards, #1 Marine Corps podcast. Only because of you guys that are listening in every week, able to give me support that I need every week to continue doing this on a weekly basis. I'm super excited to be here with you guys this week, man. I want to give a huge shout out to my sponsor, Rafa 180. Like I tell you guys every week, Rafa 180 provides you the best medicinal grade CBD on the market, hands down, dude. One of the biggest struggles we have is sleep. If you go to rafa180.com, that's Romeo Alpha Papa Hotel Alpha 180.com. Right there on the front page says time for sleep. You click that tab and they have amazing products to help you get rest, right? My wife was just telling me that she just started work. She just started working and she's working with some people who have been taking Ambien. They said, dude, I was taking Ambien. They said I had to stop taking Ambien. They said one time I was on a phone call for 4 hours crying to somebody. I woke up the next morning and didn't even realize I was on the phone for 4 hours crying to somebody, having a conversation about this argument I was having with my mother-in-law. And I'm like, yep, that sounds about right, dude. When you're taking those sleep aids that the VA prescribes you to get the rest that you need, that shit can happen, dude. You can get up, piss in the refrigerator, go to the refrigerator, open it up, and take a piss in the refrigerator. Fucking go outside and freaking roll around in dog shit because whatever, man. This is why I tell you, this is what the amazing products that CBD can provide you. They have CBN in it, which helps add as a sleep aid. It doesn't make you go to sleep. It turns off your mind so you're able to go to sleep. And when you wake up, you're only tired because you just didn't get enough sleep, like the majority of us are on a daily basis, man. Go check out rafa180.com. And when you check out the STONED VET USMC, you get 15% off your entire purchase, which is great. You spend $85 or more, priority shipping right to your front door, dude. You get it. I think the longest time I've seen a shipment take 3 days to get it anywhere across the country. Sometimes it's 2 days, sometimes it's 1 day, but 3 days is the longest. And I think that was all the way up to like New York or Maine or somewhere far away from Oklahoma. So I'm super excited to be here today, man. One of the biggest things I keep telling you guys about is you have to advocate. Advocate. Get to your capital. Get to your freaking senators, your House of Representatives, your governor in your state, and get out there and advocate, right? This is one of the things I tell you guys out on a daily basis. There's only 37 states that have cannabis legalized. If DC decides to federally legalize cannabis and it's still illegal in your state, it's illegal, regardless of federal legalization. So you guys have to get out there and you guys have to knock on the door and say, how do I get this on a ballot? Today I have the opportunity of bringing on this gentleman here, Uncle Grumpy, who's here in Oklahoma, who is an activist, a lobbyist in the state of Oklahoma, making movements.
Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Right, brother? How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. I'm glad you're here with me, brother. Like I said, one of the biggest things, like I keep telling my audience, is that the importance of getting out there and advocating on a regular basis. You, sir, you are constantly at the Capitol on a regular basis, right?
I'm there about 3 days a week now.
Right.
During the session. Yeah, I don't have something to do every time I'm there, but if I'm at least there, I can get into something. Mm-hmm. So, and sometimes that's important. You know, I like to tell people I've gotten more accomplished by stalking senators as they come out of the bathroom trying to get back to their committee meetings,
right,
than in any meeting I've been privy to. Right. So, because sometimes they just want to get rid of you, and as long as they don't dislike you, sometimes they'll just give you what you want, just to get you to go away.
To get you to go away.
I
Right?
use that to my advantage when I need to.
No, absolutely, sir. And so you guys, for a lot of you guys, you don't know. So in Oklahoma, cannabis came legal in 2018, right?
Yeah.
2018, we passed the bill, right? And if you guys are in the cannabis industry, you guys understand what Oklahoma has been doing, right? Like I tell people, our bills are screwed up. Like the way we run cannabis here in Oklahoma is completely, I don't even know how to even say it, dude.
It's chaotic.
It's chaotic, right?
We're still trying to
figure it out.
We're still trying to figure it out. I understand most people think, well, it just needs to be everywhere and there just needs to be no laws and this, that, and the other. And while I may agree with that
to an extent, right?
principle,
right.
What we have to realize here, and you should acknowledge this more often on your show, what you're doing, you're sitting in a state that is run by nothing but conservatives.
Right.
And I mean, the Democrats at best are a controlled opposition.
Mm-hmm.
And currently, with the way the politics are right now, the far right of the party is running things. And they're running things as far right as they can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really getting hard.
Right.
I mean, you could take conservatism so far before it starts to become tyranny, and
no, absolutely,
and they start to tell you what to do and how to do it. Well, we're at that precipice right now,
right?
And so it's important. Yeah, our program is a mess, but guess what? We're doing it in Oklahoma, where everybody thought we couldn't do it.
No, absolutely.
So it's a huge.
That's the
all this stuff
massive thing, right?
This plant medicine you always talk about,
right?
It's a huge accomplishment here in Oklahoma to be able to do those sorts of things,
right?
Because we are so politically so controlled by the far right, and it's only getting worse.
No, absolutely, and that's one of the biggest things, right? Because a lot of people are like, Oklahoma legalized cannabis, and that's one of the things I tell people. That it's like, yeah, 57% of the population came out and voted to legalize cannabis.
But now, wait, hold on. It wasn't 50%, 57% of the population. That's something people get wrong. And it wasn't 50% of the voters, or 57%. It was 57% of the people who voted on that bill that day.
Okay.
That's all.
Oh, okay. So 57% that came out voted on
now,
that.
we did manage, because that was on the bill, we did manage to get people out to vote that had never voted before, and in larger numbers than ever, even though it was a primary. Mary Fallon put it in the primary for a few political reasons. Being at the Capitol, like you said, I've heard some reasons I can't repeat, but let's just say it was done for political reasons. It was put on the primary.
And that's anything else, though, even like on the federal level, right? Like how you saying it, political reasons, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like to point out that reefer madness is... look, I understand. I work with these people on these far-right people I'm talking about, okay? I understand reefer madness when it's real.
Right.
But what I say is I don't believe reefer madness is real anymore.
Okay.
Because if you're the person, whatever your fear is of cannabis, I can override that with the right check.
Sad.
With the right donation.
But it's true.
Hold on. And I want to make it clear, I'm not in any way calling politicians crooked. I'm not saying I'm not saying that it's going in their pocket. Okay?
Right.
I'm not saying that. It's politics is favors.
It is.
You point out I'm at the Capitol a lot. Mm-hmm. I started off doing this, what you're doing right here, because my social anxiety was so bad, I couldn't be around that many people.
Right.
And 788, when I learned about it, had already been, they had already collected the signatures. Mm-hmm. We were just waiting for Mary Fallon to decide when it was going to go on the ballot.
Right.
And so in October of 2017, I'm sorry, I talk with my hands.
No, you're good.
In October of 2017, I went to California and I spent 30 days on a cannabis farm, learning all I could about cannabis.
Right.
Only 30 days because, as we've talked about off camera, being a patient, I at that time was on 9,855 pills a year, all prescribed by the doctor, and I had to get back every month to fill those. So I could, and you would understand this.
Yeah.
So I could only leave the state a month at a time before I had to come see my doctor.
Right, to get re-prescribed.
While I was there, somebody showed me 788 on their phone. And it just, something about it told me, if we could make this happen in Oklahoma, I could feel as normal as I do here on this farm in California. I could feel it normal at home.
Yeah.
for the first time in my adult life, I wouldn't be looking over my shoulder.
Like, oh shit, I can't smoke this weed here.
Yeah,
right?
worried I'm gonna get caught.
I'm gonna get caught, right?
Or not being able to use it, and my mental health just being disastrous,
right,
because I couldn't use it for years, and so I tried all the pharmaceuticals. Again, 9,855 pills. That's a lot.
That's insane.
But so I came back to get back where I was headed with this. So I came back from that, and one of the things I realized while I was there is there was 7 adults on this farm, and all 7 of us were from Oklahoma.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every one of us lived here. We all had wives and kids back here. We were there for the harvest.
Wow.
Something was really wrong about that.
Right? Like, why can't I do this in my state? Like,
Yeah.
why
so
can I not do
that?
this?
Was when my life changed. That really was when my life changed. And I came back and I went to a 788 dinner of some kind. I lived in Muskogee at the time and drove here to the city for it, and met one of the authors of 788 and some of the original activists. And since it was already going on the ballot, there wasn't anything to do. And so I said I would do voter drives. But again, my social anxiety, I tried it one time. I sat in this bar at a table about this size, and nobody came and talked to me.
Nobody came and talked to you.
One of the guy that was with me, also a veteran. I'm not a veteran, by the way, but he's a veteran like yourself. He went and talked to somebody and got one person to register, and then this girl decided to help us, and she got a bunch of people. So we ended up with like a dozen people registered that night, but not one by me.
Right.
Because I couldn't do it. It was just too much for me.
But that is, I mean, with the audience listening in on the show, there's a lot of you guys that watch the show that are the same way.
Yeah.
Social anxiety sucks. Like, I cannot get out there and I can't talk to people. I can't go out there and just start randomly talking to people, right? And like, there's one of the things that you guys struggle from, trying to be an advocate, right?
Yeah.
How can you be an advocate when you got social anxiety so bad that you don't want to talk to people, right?
Well, what I did was I did a post on Facebook, and I told everybody, if you suffer from the same anxiety as me, I'll ride my motorcycle over to your house. I'll bring the registration papers. I'll help you register to vote, and we'll talk about 788.
That's a way to do it. So I got a brother. That's
think about this.
No, it's
Think
true.
about this.
Though.
I've never sat with a stranger,
right?
Because by the time I've sat here, I've shaken your hand and we've gotten to know each other,
right?
So I never had to deal with a stranger. That my anxiety was gone,
right?
But I had to ride all over the state,
right?
And I did. I rode my motorcycle all over the state,
right?
And then I started going. I went to the Capitol. That was important. I saw a bill they were going to pass to regulate 788 before we even voted on it. And they wanted to come in my house and inspect my house for me to do the home grow. I don't know if anybody remembers this. No. Yeah, they were going to inspect our house.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the fight. That was my first political battle, was that one.
Right.
And needless to say, it didn't happen. But I went to the Capitol and I read the bill, and I went to the Capitol and I met the author of the bill, and I pointed out all this stuff, and I said, "You're not coming to my house. It's not. You're just not coming to my house. You're just not going to.
You're just not going to knock on my door and come check my house if I can grow weed.
I've been hiding my weed most of my life. I'll just keep hiding it. If you want us to come out of the closet, literally and figuratively here,
right?
Then you've got to back off."
Right.
And he said, all you're bringing me is problems. Bring me solutions. This is important.
No, it's true. It's absolutely true.
So I went home and I did another video and I told everybody, this is what he told me. Tell me what you think, guys. And I sat down with my 17, I'm dyslexic, so I can't read very well.
Right.
Sat down with my 17-year-old son and had him type out everything I said. And we rewrote that part of the bill. And then I put it online and got everybody to agree to it. And then went down there with 3 options, but he didn't know that. Okay, you always go with more than one option.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And I put down option 1, and he's like, he finds something in there was a little too much. Like, well, I don't know about this, like, well, I hate to, but what about this? And the second option, and he's like, well, okay, I think we can live with that. And he didn't even realize I had option 3. And option 3 was what we all had agreed to.
Yeah.
So we were already doing way better.
Right? We're already doing way better.
So now that bill died eventually because of an internal fight at the Capitol.
Right.
And we ended up with no regulation, which is part of the reason we have the mess we have now.
Right.
We went 8 months with no regulation.
Yeah.
During that time, we met at the Capitol weekly and did what I called Weed Wednesdays. And every Wednesday there would be it's called a bicameral committee, but that's both sides, so it was a joint committee. So I would call this Weed Wednesdays and the joint committee, and I would get the lawmakers to talk to me on camera and stuff, kind of like you do,
right.
and I would get them to call it the joint committee.
The joint committee.
That was fun back then, but that was how I got involved. That's how I started becoming an activist.
Right.
So anybody can do it.
No,
You know,
absolutely. Like I was
push.
saying, I got a brother. He's the same way. He messaged me. He's like, dude, I really appreciate you talking with me, because he's like, I don't talk to people on a regular basis. And he's in South Carolina, and they're trying to push legalization of cannabis, but their laws are fucking ridiculous too. Like, I was reading some of the stuff, and I was like, no, you guys can't do that. They cannot by law do that, and they're gonna do it if you guys don't stand up and say something like you said. But that's how it is, though. It's like, tell me a solution. This is the problem, but I need a solution. You got to
bring him a solution.
You got to bring him a solution. And this is what I told him. I said, he's like, I don't know how to find people like me in the state. I was like, do what everybody else is doing. Start a Facebook group.
Yeah,
Veterans for Cannabis in South Carolina. Do something. That's when you start. That's when people will start. Oh, I'm in South Carolina. I'm a veteran. I like cannabis. And this is how you find people, right? And like how you said, you message them and say, hey, if you got social anxiety like me, I'll drive to you and we can do this together.
That I got to tell
you,
that was the most. That 6 months from when I first became an activist and started doing that to a month or two after the bill passed, that was just. I mean, it was just a crazy life.
You were building relationships though with people, right? You're building these relationships that these people are like, I trust you with this. Like, I want to do this, and we're helping each other by doing this, by coming together, right? Because we're stronger in numbers, right?
Yeah, we had the moral high ground back then,
right?
Too. And we've lost the moral high ground over a couple of stumbles along the way,
right?
That's been unfortunate, but the reality is certain people have played that to their advantage and made a lot of money. So.
Well, and that's one of the biggest things, right, guys? This is one of the things I keep telling you about. A lot of this stuff, when we're fighting, right? SRNG's fighting for federal legalization, fighting for what it comes down to is politics. Hands down, politics. Everybody understands this, right? The reason it's not federally legal is because they don't know how to make money off of this, right? That's the biggest thing.
They just haven't figured out
how
the system yet.
Can I make money off of this? Right. Alcohol, they make money off of alcohol. Mm-hmm. They make money off of tobacco, right? All these things used to be illegal. Everybody, a lot of us aren't old enough, but I mean, yeah, right? The sin tax, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if you guys can read about it in the history books if they haven't taken out of the history books yet. But the prohibition against alcohol, you know what I'm saying? It was prohibited. People were making their own moonshine and all that stuff, right? Because it was illegal, federally illegal to possess alcohol.
And look, and it was illegal until the government realized they were losing. Mm-hmm. Okay, and cannabis is working out the same.
And it's doing the same thing, absolutely.
Now,
right?
what we do have to pay attention to is politics. Politics is compromise.
Right.
As these things go forward, depending on how fast we want them to happen, will determine how much we're willing to give up to make them happen sooner. So we gotta be careful of that.
Right.
So, in other words, like you're saying, some states are passing laws that you take exception with.
Right.
Well, but a lot of people will say, but at least they're doing something.
Right.
And that's how they get away with it.
Right. Yeah,
at least they're doing something.
At least they're doing something. And that's why I tell you guys to be an activist, to be an advocate, to get out there and say, okay, like David Bass down in Texas, right? So they don't have smokable flower.
Yeah,
you know David Bass, right?
Yes.
He's doing
I did this with him once.
Yes, he's got a big movement going on in Texas right now.
He does.
He's got a massive movement. Granted, they don't have smokable flower yet, but they do have. Now they went from 5 milligrams of edibles to 20 milligrams of edibles.
Yeah, he's working with the legislators.
He's working with them,
the best they can in that state.
Right now.
That's something that everybody needs to be aware of. Every state, it's different. For example, Here we can do an initiative petition. That's how we got 788.
Right.
That's why we may possibly have full access or adult use on the ballot in November, because we have three, or actually four, but three possible petitions that will be collecting signatures. And in other states like Texas, they don't have that option.
They don't.
No,
Really?
this is not a federal thing. This is a state thing.
Yeah.
And we are one of the easiest.
Really?
Now where something that they tried to get passed when they did 788 is something we still need. And what that would have done, we have 90 days from the time that the Secretary of State gives you a number on your petition. Once they approve it and give you a number, and it becomes state, question, whatever.
Right.
You have 90 days from then to collect signatures. There was a movement to try and change that to a year.
Okay.
Which would be considerably easier.
A lot easier, because 90 days comes by fast.
Right. Now,
to try to get all the signatures that you need.
With 788, it required 66,000. and they barely got it.
They barely got it, because I know they squeaked in.
And it wasn't their first attempt. They had failed in the past.
Right.
With these new petitions, because, again, every state is different. You guys need to look up how it is in your state. You may not have these options. You may have some different political system. That can be worked also, but we need to know what it is, and we can help formulate a plan on how to fix that. But the way it works here, the petitions, the number of signatures on the petition is based on the number of people that voted in the last gubernatorial race.
Okay.
So, like, again, for 788, a state question, it was 66,000 signatures. This round for a state question, again, state statute, like 788, meaning not going in the Constitution, it's going to require 95,000 signatures.
Oh, sheesh, for adult use.
And that's just for a state statute. For one of these constitutional amendments, it's 176,000 signatures.
Oh, wow.
Per petition.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
In 90 days.
In 90 days. Like you doing that day in and day out, every day for 90 days, because
so that takes
you got to have a lot of advocates out there saying, we sign this.
Or money.
This. Or money.
Okay, because there's two ways to do this. There's through the advocates, and I believe that's the way Orca is going to try and do it. I think it's going to be an utter failure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you sit down and think about it, like, where are you going to go? Car dealerships?
Well, no, they think that they're just going to get it in every dispensary, and that the customers are going to walk in and sign them. And
no, they won't.
There's too many flaws to that.
Yeah,
but anyway, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue his policy,
right.
His plan. But the other way again is paid signature gatherers.
Right.
And that can be done easily if you have paid signature gatherers.
Yeah. Oh,
I believe that
But you got to have organizations that have that money to be able to say.
I believe that the state statute 820 has exactly what you're talking about. I think they can write a check for as much money as it takes.
Oh, really?
I do.
Oh.
So I do believe that has a chance to get the signatures, but it has to get away from the challenge first. And it's been challenged in the Oklahoma Supreme Court by the people who wrote the other petitions.
Really?
Now, it's a very weak challenge, and the person knows this, but they did it anyway. And I think they did it solely and only to slow down the other people.
Of course.
And so
politics.
So what my concern is that what's going to happen is November's going to come and we're not going to have any choices. That this is going to get so screwed up by this internal fighting that we lose our chance for full access this year. That is my concern.
Right.
So we'll see how that plays out.
It's gonna be interesting to see. You know what I'm saying? And that's what sucks about this stuff, right? Because it's all politics. This whole legalization of cannabis is all politics on any standpoint, whether it's state level or federal level. It's all politics, right?
Well, it was politics that made it illegal.
Yeah,
it was Nixon going after the hippies. So it was purely for political reasons, and the only way to undo it is through the political process.
Exactly, and it's disgusting, and it's very heartbreaking that this is exactly what we have to deal with, what we're dealing with. But this is what it takes: is people out there advocating, being activists to say, "Hey, dude, what do we need to do to get this on a ballot?" Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to understand the law, right? So I had Ryan Early on the show not too long ago. Mm-hmm. You know Ryan Early.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Early is a plumber. He'll tell you straight, I'm a plumber, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not a politician. I don't run politics. I'm a plumber.
Yeah, he has me for that.
You know what I'm saying?
We work together,
right?
Ryan
So
and I work
and
together.
so, but he's already written. He's already had so many bills written already.
He worked on the hemp bill.
On the hemp bill, right? He worked on the hemp bill, and I think he helped with the psilocybin bill, right?
He is, yes.
Helping
He didn't help
with
with the
it.
language, but yes, he's helping.
He's helping with the psilocybin bill.
Yes.
And he's like, dude, he said, you have to go out there and you have to educate yourself on these things. I had Brian Talley on my show not too long ago, and you guys know Talley, man. He fought the VA and beat them. But he'll tell you, he's like, I don't know shit about writing bills. I Googled it and figured out how do you write a bill, and he wrote a bill to fight, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for you guys in your state. Like Uncle Grumpy was saying, is that it's not the same in every state. It's all different. Right. However you get your state questions or whatever, it's all a different process, and you have to learn how to do it in your state.
Yeah, if you don't have an initiative petition process, then it's got to solely be done through getting legislators to put it forward
right.
in their legislator, and that's done through relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I do in the Capitol is relationships.
Right.
We would like to give a huge thanks to Rafa 180. Rafa 180 offers pure medicinal CBD and products made locally. They walk alongside individuals to achieve a healthy lifestyle with options needed by each person. You can learn more about them on Facebook at Rafa CBD, their website www.rafa180.com, or email at rafacbd@gmail.com. They truly believe your journey matters.
Everything I've done has been without any money.
Right.
So as we were
I ain't got none.
Yeah.
I ain't got none.
I'm not handing out campaign contributions.
Right,
I don't
right.
have any. People used to donate gas money to me so I could get there before I moved to the city.
Right.
I've had to do it all on relationships.
Right.
And it's worked out pretty well. For the most part, again, let's start talking about our psilocybin bill.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's one of the biggest things. This is why Uncle Grumpy came to see me today. So in Oklahoma, one of the biggest things I tell you guys about psilocybin, right? Psilocybin. What is it? What is psilocybin? How does it work? How can it be beneficial, right? And like I say, if you guys are on my Facebook page, I don't know. I put it mostly in my group page. If you guys come over to my group page and see it, I post a lot of studies that are being done in this country. Studies that are being done in this country in regards to how psilocybin is beneficial for people who suffer from PTS, who suffer from anxiety, who suffer from depression, right? And me and Uncle Grumble, we sit here talking for a little while about psilocybin and how the medicinal benefits of it that have been showing to help rewire the brain, right? A lot of us Afghan war veterans, Iraq war veterans, heck, even you guys in Desert Storm, man, a lot of you guys, I mean, we all suffer from PTS, anxiety, depression, and all kinds of different things. Our body hurts, aches and pains every day, right? We've been through surgeries after surgeries and stuff like that. And that's one of the biggest things here in Oklahoma. They're trying to pass a research bill now. Is that right?
Yes, it's a research bill. And again, relationships.
Right.
Okay. The first few years here, first couple years here, I was working on cannabis law. I came in as an activist. I came in holding my phone up and screaming at lawmakers about messages people were sending me, and I could tell you about how many fights I got into with them in the hallways,
Right.
yelling at them, and guards coming over, and just crazy stuff. And now I sit down and have lunch with them, and I wear a suit like they do, and so what I did was I put myself in a situation where I became friends with enough people that they started to trust me.
Right.
And so both in the community and in the Capitol, I had people reach out to me the same week wanting to do a psilocybin bill.
Which is great, right? Because this relationship you're talking about, Brian Talley not too long ago, he said he went to D.C. because his senator in California that he was working with got hemmed up on some black market charges that he was doing some nasty stuff. So he didn't have anybody to represent him anymore. So he flew to D.C. himself, and he sat down with all the senators that you guys see on TV. You know, all those fancy senators that are on there, right? He sat down with them, but he said he had to build a relationship with them, right? Mm-hmm. He had to remain very professional, not cussing, not
right.
yelling, but very professionalism. And like for you, building this relationship, that's something, regardless of what your beliefs are, if your beliefs are completely different than his, but you need him to be able to help
And
you.
that's where
right?
it's at, believe me, because my beliefs aren't. I've been a member of every political party in my adult life. I'm currently a registered independent. I'm disgusted with both parties.
they're disgusting. They're both upsetting right now.
But unlike most, okay, and I can talk about this for hours, but I do want to get back to our bill. Unlike most, I don't see revolution as a solution. I don't see that we need to overthrow our government. I see a big push for that, but I don't see that because I've been lucky enough, fortunate enough to get into the Capitol and learn how to understand it, that I see all these political situations differently than everybody else does now. I see them all as how I could get in there and fix them, and have conversations and give and take. And for example, when I go to talk to somebody at the Capitol, sometimes one thing I'll do is I'll look up what other bills they're doing, and I'll find a bill they're doing that I like, and I'll go, "Hey, I love that work you're doing on blah blah blah." By the way, and they're like, "Oh, thank you." Well, by the way, can we talk about this other bill? And then get them to where I need to talk to them about. So for me, politics is
building
different.
the relationship.
I see it all as fixable.
Right,
I really
do. Yeah.
But it takes doing the work.
And
It's
influencing them for what you see. Like, let me show you why I see this.
And that's difficult sometimes.
No, it is.
And
Absolutely.
It's give and take. It's trade off. Again, find what they're interested in. And people like to think they're right. They like to hear themselves talk. They like to feel good about themselves. And you'll find that if you make them feel that way for a minute, they'll do just about anything you want.
Right.
Because they work for us anyway. They're there to help.
Right.
And if you give them a chance, most of them are nice people. Not all. And some of them are snakes. And I assure you,
No, absolutely.
sometimes they're just bad people.
Right. No,
But
absolutely.
for the most part, it's just politics, and almost all of these situations can be fixed.
No, and absolutely it can be. And so, I mean, in regards to the psilocybin bill, what was the initiative with this bill that's going to be presented here before the citizens here in Oklahoma?
Again, somebody reached out to me from the community, and somebody reached out to me from the Capitol, a legislator.
Wow, okay.
The same week.
Wow.
Because I had started the conversations with them a year ago and said, when we were doing the Kratom bill, hey, we'd like to talk about psilocybin someday and other things. There's other things planning too. And so they were ready. There's a large number of veterans down there. And one of the people who contacted me is a veteran, and that's Representative Phillips, Logan Phillips. And he'll tell you almost everybody he served with is dead now, most of which to suicide.
Right.
And so he sees the research out there. So this is a huge push to help veterans is what this is.
Right.
While the bill, unlike Texas, where it specifically says it has to be veterans, and it's only 1,000 people and it's one school, okay, very tight. Ours, we wrote considerably different. It is very open. Every school can do their own research program. They can do it however they choose. They can research the plant. They can research human trials. They can do whatever they want. And what we plan to do, what we're working to do, is to put together human trials. We've already got a school on board, and we're going to be doing this. And we're going to be treating veterans and others with psilocybin, both through microdosing and macrodosing.
Okay. And that's one of the biggest things. Like I tell you guys on a weekly basis, you guys are always knowing that I'm always talking about psilocybin, how psilocybin has been helping me personally, right, on my personal use myself, with how the studies that have been coming out showing the benefits that you can get from using the psilocybin, right? How it can rewire your mind and help you get over a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the depression and stuff, right? I tell you guys, I don't want you to become a statistic for the government, right? So they can put another check in the freaking Excel spreadsheet saying, oh, we lost another one. Yep, we're still sitting at 22 a day, right? A lot of people know 22 veterans take their life every day, but nobody ever talks about the 35 that die from opioid addiction on a regular basis.
And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but if you were to only use the Oklahoma numbers, if every state was even to Oklahoma in that issue, it'd be 27.
Oh, 27.
So it's 22 a day nationally.
Internet, yeah.
But we are at the high end of that scale We help bring that number up because we're
and here in Oklahoma.
okay,
right?
because not only do we have more vets than any other state, but we have a higher rate of depression. And since the pandemic, all clinical research is showing a roughly 40% increase in clinical depression.
Wow.
Since the pandemic.
And I figured those numbers would go up because of the pandemic. A lot of people were stuck at home.
Right. So
Not
look,
being
I've
able to-
lost 2 people in the last 8 months to suicide. One was an ex-girlfriend, and one was the guy I grew up with. I mean, closer than my own family.
Right.
So this is very personal to me. And
No, absolutely.
this bill, I believe, will help a lot of people, and I think it'll help them quickly. Research is showing, we were talking about it earlier, there's a regimen you can take. It's a few different mushrooms. I'm sure you guys can look it up. Studies are showing with a little bit of psilocybin, it's a right amount of psilocybin with the right amount of lion's mane and a couple others is creating new neural pathways in the brain. So what does that mean? Well, depression or suicidal states or writer's block, what's easiest for everybody to understand, is not being able to see your way around that damn hammer. No matter what you do, that hammer is right in your way. And what the right combination with psilocybin and these other mushrooms, which the others are all already legal, what that does is it allows your brain to create a new neural pathway, and you will find a way around that hammer. And then your brain will maintain that new pathway. So that writer's block is gone. You now have a new way of thinking.
Right.
And that's why they say it's like flipping a light switch for people who are suicidal.
Right.
As far as a heavy, a macro dose done properly in the right environment can literally be like flipping a switch for somebody who's suicidal.
No, absolutely.
I mean, I've done it myself, and I've been suicidal more than once in my life. And I've done enough to feel that, to get up the next day and go, okay, last week, all I could think about was how to wrap up my shit before I blew my brains out.
Right.
This week, I'm looking at a new life
Positive
and a new way
absolutely.
to get through the day.
And
that's what's allowed me to do what I do.
No, it's great, right? And especially with the universities coming together to say, let's do this research study. I got a brother, Brian Buckley, out of San Diego, California. He's actually doing this with cannabis right now because he asked Congress, what do you need from me so that we can fight for federal legalization of cannabis, right? They told him we need to see numbers. So he owns Hellman Valley Grow Company out of San Diego, California. And so 100% of his profits is going back to this research project, this multi-million-dollar research. If you guys have ever done a research project, you guys understand these are expensive. Yep. These are millions of dollars that go into a research project because there's a lot of annotating numbers and research of what did we do today? How did we do it? How much of it do we use? What are we seeing? Are we seeing it grow? We seeing it? It's a bunch of numbers that people are looking at, right? And politicians, they want to see numbers. And so Brian Buckley's even getting so far as to this strain will treat this if you use this much of it, is how he's getting his research down to. Sleep, anxiety, depression. He's breaking it strain by strain, the amount that you need to treat what you're dealing with, which is great, right? Medical research, right? Medical research. Same thing with the psilocybin bill. Medical research, because like I tell people, with psilocybin, it's just like cannabis. There are different strains of psilocybin, and they all treat different things.
They're a little different. They're not terpenes,
right?
It is a little different, and I don't quite understand it all.
No,
yet.
Yes.
There's probably people out there that know a lot more about than
a lot of you guys who are boomers that can probably like, oh no, let me tell you about this.
But I can say that there are different kinds, and I know from experience that some kinds just rub people the wrong way.
Oh, no, absolutely. Like me, I've been using now for probably about 6 months now, and I think I've gone through 5 or 6 different strains, I had one strain recently, dude. It was like a spiritual journey. Like, I took it and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is going on? Like, it's a whole completely different thing than the strain that I took the month before. I was like, what is this? Like, what is, But it really is. I mean, unlike terpenes that everybody knows, like I keep telling you guys about,
different.
It's a little bit different, right? But I mean, understanding
and
it,
that's
and
part of what the study will be about. Is figuring that out. And yeah, we plan with our study anyway to treat people as well as do the study on the agriculture part of it. Yes, it's tied to a university study. What that means is every university of higher learning, or whatever they call them, whatever the legal term is, here in Oklahoma, and there's 24 of them. Each one of them can conduct their own study. They can do that internally. They can do that by subbing that out. They can do it however they want. Like in our case, the school will be subbing it out. We'll be doing the research, and they'll be involved in what to do with all that research and all that. But every school will have the option to do that. So something was mentioned earlier, and I want to bring up while we're talking to these people. This will not create public sales.
Okay.
This is a research bill. That doesn't mean we didn't limit it to 1,000 people like Texas did. We didn't limit it to veterans like Texas did. That's our target, is veterans, but it's not limited. Every person, every researcher can do their own, can decide on their own how they want to do that. So there won't be public sales. You won't pick up if you're part of the study, you won't pick up your mushrooms when you're picking up your weed. It's not going to show up in your mail. You're going to go to the research facility, to wherever the clinic is that you're involved with, and they're going to give you the psilocybin. Now, will that be that they give you a week's worth and say, here, go home and microdose? Or what? Well, again, that solely depends on them and how they want to set up their research program.
Right?
That is an option, that they could give you enough to microdose for a week and say, come back in a week, and then set you through an interview and find out how that week went and adjust accordingly. I mean, it could be that, or it could be that you have to show up every day to take the capsule.
Right. And that's up to university, of course.
Exactly. Every university will do that. I can tell you, as far as a reset, what those of us that know about mushrooms call a macro dose is a reset. And because again, it's like flipping that light switch. It resets your whole brain. It's great. But a reset will be done in a clinic. Now, what those clinics look like, we don't know yet. As somebody who's done these things, I don't want to go sit in a doctor's office and do this. That wouldn't be any fun.
No, not at all.
So we're going to have to create an environment that is proper for this type of treatment. But you won't be sent home to go eat a bunch of mushrooms and come back and tell them how it went the next day.
Right. Because they're going to have to see what is the brain doing, right? Like, be able to go in there and say...
Well, not only that, but you're treating your PTSD. You might need help.
Right.
There will be experts there that will help you through that trip, that will sit with you the entire time. Most of these I've seen done are done with blinders on and music playing, and it's 5 to 8 hours of sitting, laying on a couch.
When you're tripping, dude, it's not. It is a journey. Like, you're in it for hours. You're not just.
I've spent some time talking to a clinical researcher up in Canada. We're trying to get down here to help with our program. That does this up there now, and she's been telling me sometimes they don't say a word the whole time. Sometimes they need to talk through part of it. She just has to be there for whatever that is. But it's a research program. Now, there is some decriminalization in there. So everybody will at least not be arrested.
Okay.
So while it doesn't automatically give access to everybody, let's be honest, everybody has access right now.
Right.
We don't need to bring this into our dispensaries.
No, absolutely
We need
not.
to stop people from getting arrested.
Right.
And we need to do a research program and figure out how we want to move forward.
Absolutely. How would you move this on? How would this go into legalization, right? Understanding the research behind it. Here's the research, right? So this is one of the things that we were discussing about before. How do you get something legalized? You have to conduct research on it and show the progress of what happened during that research, so they can see it. So they can be like, okay, yes, this is something that we can vote on.
Yeah, it's actually 2 years of research, but then they have a year to put together all the results and turn them into the legislator, and then the Capitol can decide to do what they want at that point. Right. They could throw it all in a cabinet and forget about it. I'm pretty sure the push will be at that point to move forward.
No, absolutely.
I imagine when that happens, I'll be helping making
that happen, right? Because there are plenty of states out there that have legalized psilocybin.
Right. But unlike 788, we don't need to just blow the doors off the place.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
This is entirely too damn. My goal is to lower that suicide number to 0.
Right.
Not just veterans, but everybody
else, right?
And I'm talking about people very personal to me. So that's my goal.
Right.
It's not to get everybody mushrooms for the weekend.
No,
they've
not
already
at all,
got
dude.
that. We don't
Yeah.
need to do anything about that except decriminalize it. So if you get caught, you might get a ticket,
Right.
but you won't get put in handcuffs.
Yeah.
And the ticket could be up to $400.
Okay.
Now, here's what I need from you.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I really need and why I want to come see you. And any other vets that you might have here in Oklahoma, I need you guys to come to the Capitol next week, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, whatever day you can, in the afternoon. No specific time other than that, so that I can take you around to talk to senators. I have to start convincing the committee, the Senate committee that's going to hear this bill, that it's the right thing to do. And the way to do that is to let them hear it from veterans.
Okay.
We passed the House already. 62, I think, was the end number. We should have ended up with about 80. There was some mix-up on the floor and how they presented the bill. There was a last-minute amendment request by the health department, which should have been denied but wasn't, because now it's causing us to do another amendment to fix their mistake. But so we lost some votes in there. So we have less enthusiasm at the Senate.
Okay.
The first question the governor's office asked us, first question the senator asked us, first question the Secretary of State asked, and I met with all of them this week, was, why do you get such a low number in the House? Well, it was purely because of a technical reason. But I've got to back that up
And show
by bringing extra support, by bringing veterans to the Capitol to say, either you've used these things and this is what it did for you, or you want to use these things because you're having these issues and the VA is only giving you these options. This is what we need.
Right.
This is how we get this done.
Okay.
This really is how
No,
we
absolutely.
get this done. I mean, 'cause,
Absolutely.
look, I can talk to these people all day
But
long.
they don't see the faces.
They need to see the
the faces,
veterans. They
right.
need to see the people whose lives are going to be saved.
No, absolutely.
And because they will start to understand it's the right thing to do. And
Absolutely.
it is. It's just the damn right thing to do. So
It is.
honestly, I don't care about public sales.
Right. No,
I don't
absolutely.
care about money.
No, right.
I care about lowering that number. That's what we need to worry about, is lowering that number. And this plant medicine we're all
Absolutely.
pushing.
Absolutely. And this
needs
is what I,
all
this is
lower
what I
that
keep
number.
telling you guys about, right? Plant medicine, medical freedom, right? To be able, why can I not have access to the medicine that I want? Why is it that I can only have pharmaceuticals that the doctor keeps prescribing to me, right? And like you're saying, so this is what I tell you guys, that you have to build your relationships. You have to get out in the community. Does it suck talking to people when you have social anxiety? Fuck yeah, it does. But you have to learn who's in your community where you live. Who's in your community? Your veterans. Who is in your veteran community? Trust me, not all veterans are great. There are some veterans out there that will burn you faster than your own fucking mother will, you know? And it sucks. But there are veterans out there that will come to you and say, what do we need to do for this fight? How do we need to go and make this fight seen, right? I've got some great people. Like you said, you need some veterans. I've got some great people that will come with me. And I'll talk with them this weekend, and we'll come up with a plan. Hopefully Monday we can get up together and we can head out there to the Capitol, going to the Capitol and advocating for medical freedom.
That'd be great.
Because
And
that's the biggest thing, is ensuring that we can have this medical freedom, that people understand the importance of it.
if you could put together, you say you'll talk to them over this weekend, if you could put together a half a dozen people and contact me when you know who they're going to be, if we could do a quick 20 or 30 minute Zoom over the weekend,
Yep.
that would be great too, because that will give me time to hear what you guys. Here's the reality, okay? I need you guys for a tool.
Right.
Okay, I'm a
No,
tool. We're all
absolutely.
tools.
We're
in
all
this.
tools. And
We're all
this is-
tools
this
in
is-
this.
This is how you.
So,
this is
so
how
what
you
I need
allow
to know is
legalization.
what tools you have. So I need to see who we're talking about, and because there may be one or two that I go, oh, exactly, I know exactly where to use that tool.
Right.
So it'll help us in being successful if we can get a little prep session.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let me reach out to a couple of people, and you said like half a dozen. I think I can get a couple. I think
Even
I
if
can have
2 is great.
Well, yeah,
I don't care.
I can get a couple of people. I can reach out to a couple of people, and let me reach out to some more to see how many people I can get to do this, because this is what it's about. It's coming together.
I've also got a doctor that does this with me. He comes up there in scrubs, and I take him around, and he talks to him about it from the clinical standpoint. So
Okay.
tools. This is how I get things done at the Capitol. This is how we'll get this bill passed.
No, absolutely. And this is exactly what we're needing to do, is to be able to push this, right? Because this is one thing I keep telling you guys about. I don't want to tell you guys to do it and me, not myself, not go out and do it myself, right? Not to show people that, oh, Sergeant G ain't doing it. Why do I got to do it? Well, I'm going to be out there. I'm going to go do it, because this is how your voices get heard, right? If you sit on the couch and you don't do anything, your voice will not be heard, right? You're going to be sitting in silence, and you're going to be upset when you don't get what you think you deserve.
You know, I was standing outside the House chamber one time when they were taking a vote, and a House member ran out and looked at me and Norma and said, "Do you know any farmers in my district? I just need to talk to one." What my point is with that, okay, is that he only needed one constituent to help him figure out how to make this decision.
Right.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
That's all it takes is one. Right.
I've seen when I wanted that first meeting to go in and talk, I had asked the community to get involved. We got 600 phone calls and emails in less than 24 hours to the Capitol.
Wow.
I could have had a meeting with anybody at
Right,
that point.
right.
But sometimes it's one phone call. Sometimes it's 600.
Right. And that's what it is, and this is what I tell you guys, right? How do I become an activist? How do I go out and advocate? As Ion Grumble said, he used to suffer from social anxiety really bad, right? He's at the Capitol three times a week.
3 times a week.
Three times a week, talking with senators and House representatives. You know what I'm saying? Talking with these people on a regular basis. Hey, look, let me show you something.
And I didn't graduate the 10th grade. Okay.
See, so he's not like he has a college degree in politics,
no,
or legislation, or anything like that.
For me, my life took a very serious bad turn when I hit 18 and got busted for pot.
Right.
In 1985. So this cannabis fight has been my entire life.
Yeah, for real.
Getting those charges, having that happen, kept me from joining the service, because I tried to join the service. Kept me from good jobs. It kept me from excelling in life. Mm-hmm. I was 50 when I stumbled into this.
Yeah.
For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm living.
Right, like you found your purpose.
But it took me that long
to find your purpose. Right.
So,
and this is one thing I keep telling you guys
know.
about. When you guys get out of service, that's one of the biggest struggles we have, is finding our purpose. How do I continue moving forward every single day, right? Yeah. Because if you guys don't have something planned out for you that day, you feel as though, what's the point of living, right?
Yeah.
Why am I here? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing, right? And it sucks. But when you put them freaking boots on again, this is my purpose. Plant medicine, medical freedom. This is my purpose. How do I get involved? There's organizations like the Veteran Action Council, Weed for Warriors projects, Veterans for Success. These organizations exist similar to like the nonprofits like Wounded Warrior and freaking VFW and the American Legion. Similar to them, these are just veterans in the cannabis community that are advocating, and they're all over the country. They have different augments in every state, so that people like you who are fighting for plant medicine know you can go there and say, hey, dude, I want to be part of this group. How do we get out and advocate? How do we get to the governor's door and let him know, hey, what is it that we need to do? Talking to your senators in your state. What do we need to do to get this on a ballot? You know what I'm saying? And reading your law, your state law. Every state law is different on how you get stuff on a ballot, right? How you get state questions on there, right? So, I mean, this is an amazing opportunity here in Oklahoma. Like I say, Oklahoma's leading the way in a lot of different things, right? Even though we're screwed up, it's been a mess. It's been chaotic. Okay. But we are. A lot of people are like, Oklahoma, man, look what they're doing with this. Look what they're doing with this, right? It's a mess because we see it from the inside. You guys are seeing it from the outside, like, wow, look at this. But we're like, no, look at this. Like, this is not right. And you being in the cannabis game since 2018, this started, you've seen a lot of it. Like,
it's changed a lot.
Right.
You know, the way I see it, what the patients need now, and that's all I care about is the patients.
Right.
What they need is a stable market.
Right.
And that's, you know, my only reason for caring about the chaos in the industry is because it offers an unstable market to the patients.
And it's not good for the patients. Yeah, it's not good.
No, that's not good at all. I mean, there's too many things that can go wrong. So anyway,
no, absolutely, man. Well, we're getting close to the end of the show, Uncle Grumpy. I appreciate this opportunity. Is there anything you want to tell the audience, like,
again,
how to do this. How does somebody jump into something like this?
any way necessary. Again, I started by doing exactly what you're doing right here, because I couldn't see myself doing anything. I certainly couldn't imagine anyone listening to me.
Right.
Especially rooms full of people, especially rooms full of people in suits.
Right.
And now I can get them to listen to me.
Right.
It's a different world. It really is.
No, absolutely.
But it's easier than you think. I like to say that there is a manual to how to work the Capitol. It's not written, but if you've read it by working the system, then you start to understand that it is our government. We're just too damn lazy.
Yeah.
So to all those people that want a revolution, I say get off your couch.
Right.
Because that's all you need to do. You don't need your gun. You need to get off your couch. You need to go to your Capitol.
Right.
And you don't need to be mad.
No.
We can work the system.
Right.
We don't have to fight it. So
that's what they're doing to us. They're working the system.
That's right.
They're working the system
That's
on
right.
us. Right.
You know, look, hey, the first 2 years of this, there was me and a couple other people down there fighting for the cannabis businesses. None of us being paid by these businesses.
Right.
Meaning no paid lobbyists for the cannabis industry. They're lucky they got what they got.
Right.
Now, every single lobbyist at the Capitol is taking cannabis money except me. Point being, you're getting what they want.
Right.
The people that want stuff will go work the system. If you guys want something, go work the system.
Right.
I know it's hard.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not as hard as you think. And for me, it took one day at the Capitol, Norma Sapp said something to me and a light switch went off in my head. And from that day forward, I've owned that building as far as I'm concerned. It's my house.
Right.
They're working for me. I'm the only one not getting paid. So I can tell them to fuck off. Sorry, language. I can tell them to kiss off and leave at any time. It gives me an amount of freedom that helps me have the confidence to do what I need to do.
Right.
And confidence when you have social anxiety is what's missing.
No, absolutely.
You have no confidence.
No confidence, right? So, but you guys hear it first right here from a guy who suffered from social anxiety, like a majority of you guys do, who is at the Capitol 3 times a week now, fighting and advocating, saying, no, look at this. Let me show you this. Let me help you with this, right? Building relationships with our Congress in our state, from the House to the Senate to the governor himself. This is one of the things that he does, and he does it because he believes in helping the patients who don't have a voice, ensuring that they're able to get the medical freedom that they deserve as an American citizen, man. I appreciate it, Uncle Grumpa, for hanging out with me today.
Thank you. Appreciate
doing
you
this,
having
man.
me anytime.
I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Like I tell you guys every week, dude, you guys are important. There's nobody else in this country, in this world, that can do what you can do. Don't become another statistic to the government so they can put another check in the box and there's another one, right? Like Uncle Grumpy said, Oklahoma's holding the highest rate of veteran suicides right now, and it's sad. But my thing is that you guys got to share this content so they don't feel like they're alone. I don't want any of y'all to ever feel like you're alone. You are always needed. Nobody else can do what you can do, man. Remember, roll that fat blunt, smoke you out bong, sit back, blaze it, and just relax and think about life and where you're at and where you want to go. And enjoy it. Embrace that medical freedom. Inhale the good shit, exhale the bad shit, right? Remember, guys, here at the Stone Vet, we got your six.
Enemies trying to do me some harm. I fight for your freedom of speech and your right to bear arms. When I say I got your six, that means I got your back. But what else would you expect coming from the Stone Vet? 1, 2, 3, 4 for my country. I go hardcore. Army, Navy, Air